Hello, everyone. Can you all hear me? All right. So thank you so much for attending today's workshop. And this is our weekly workshop series. And today we are going to learn a bit more about pre-processing and feature engineering and data visualization. So we already had one of our workshop before. So how many of you have already attended our last workshop? Oh, nice. Great. For those of you who are new, there is nothing to worry about because I'm going to cover those concepts real quick as well. So before I start, I would like to know how many of you are familiar with Python? All right, that's a good enough number. And how many of you have already worked with Pandas library? Okay, that's great. And who are really new to programming or Python as well? Anyone who never heard of Python or maybe never tried or wrote a code? Okay, good. So our weekly workshop are scheduled every Wednesday from 5 to 6. And we are going to build a recommender system at the end of the workshop. And in today's workshop, we will cover pre-processing and some basic part as well. Okay, so from today's workshop, you can expect to learn how to load and explore data, how to handle missing values, perform data transformation and feature extraction, and visualize data to cover insights. So here's a quick recap of our last workshop. Data pre-processing. So before we start any machine learning project or model, we want to implement any model to any data. First thing we need, yeah. So that light. Switch it off. Yeah, better. All right. So the first thing we need for any machine learning model is data. But data can be messy. Data might require lots of pre-processing and transformation because our machine learning model require a certain type and a certain format of data they can process. So for that, we need data pre-processing. And data pre-processing have certain sub-steps. First, data cleaning, then data visualization, feature engineering, handling missing values, normalizing, and transformation data. So these steps are not in sequence. Sometimes they go back and forth. They might have a loop, they might be recurring. So we might perform data cleaning and then we straight directly go to feature engineering and then we perform data visualization. So it all depends on a requirement and the type of data. So before I start, I hope all of you have access to this Google Colab file. So, all right. So you can open this Google Colab file and the link is available in our Discord channel.
Those who are not on Discord yet, you can use that link bit.ly/AIS_links and access our Discord. We just take a minute break for like the new people who have come in to settle, and others you can log into the Discord and get access to the Google Colab in the meanwhile. It's the same file that we were using the previous video.
No, like this is a different file. We already covered a couple of things. I have already kept some of the content from the last week's file as well.
So the data set is different?
No, the data set is same. And the link to the data set is already in the notebook file. If any of you face any difficulty, just let me know. Yeah.
Just a small. So if you go to the machine learning channel in Discord, there you'll find the driving that has access, that has code and PPT for this week and the previous week as well. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And then what?
You just download that.
Yes, I did. Use.
Yes, this one. And just go to Google Colab. Oh, all right, so let me show you. So this, can you share my screen? So for those of you who are new, we will use Google Colab. For that, just go to Google and type Google Colab. You can see it, right? All right. And click over here. You can log in via your ID, email ID, and then go into file, upload a notebook, and there you can upload the notebook file which we have provided in our Discord channel. Uh, just try it once and let me know if you can. After uploading, you should have something like this. And for those of you who are wondering why are we using Google Colab, so there are multiple reasons. First, we don't need any because this is a cloud platform. We don't require any computational power or like RAM limit or something like that. So everything is happening on Google server. Second, we don't require to install any libraries, maybe Python or Pandas, because there is always some issues with those to set up the environment. It can be tricky. We don't have to do any of that. So, and it's free to use. All right, I'm assuming that some of you who have laptop uh, have this file open, right? Okay. So let's start with data cleaning. So data cleaning is a process of detecting and correction or removing inaccuracies, inconsistencies in data set to improve the data quality. Because a model can be as good as the data quality. And all right, so first we will start with importing all the libraries. Here we are importing pandas, NumPy, Matplotlib, and Seaborn. And some of the things we have covered in last workshop, so we will be going a little bit faster. If you face any difficulty, just raise your hand or let me know. So how to load a dataset? You can just type any name here, and you can use the read Excel or read CSV function, which is available in Pandas library. Provide the path here. You can find the path from this Explorer menu. Your data should be here. You can just click over here and click on the copy path, and you can just paste it over here. And so yes, then we will explore the data set. Let's just give me a minute. So this is how our data looks like. You can see it has lots of features like columns. Some of them are necessary, some of them are unnecessary. So this data is very pretty much dirty and raw, I would say, because this is a real world data set which we extracted from ASU website. So all these events you see over here are real events which are scheduled to happen in ASU. So let's explore the data. We can check the number of rows and column by clicking by writing this function data frame, which is df. You can write any name you want. Instead of this, I just chose this one, and you can use this function save. So it tells us that in our data set we have 1,888 rows and 15 columns. So this is a Excel file basically, and in Excel file we have rows and column. So the same file is uploaded over here, and using the pandas library, we have converted it into a data frame, which is what we call on pandas. And here are some of the features of the data set we have. And to run any cell, you can just hit Shift Enter, or you can click over here. So wait a second. Okay. And to describe the data set, we can use the function .describe. Basically, it gives us some statistical parameters. Here you can see that using this function over here, I got the count, unique. So how many unique values are there in a particular column? And then the top is basically the mode, or what information is repeating in that column, like the number with the highest frequency. And we have this frequency of that uh, particular entry. So here, if you see in the categories, we have not specified value, which is repeated 903 times. So that is not good. After that, we have this data frame.info function. This provide non-null and data type information about all the features. So if you see here, we have like 15 features. And I will use the term features and columns interchangeably. They are basically the same in our context. So here, if you see, we have 15 columns, and some of them have null values. And how would we check the null values? You can just write a function, whatever the name of your data frame is, and you can just type is null. So this tells us the null values, and you can just sum it up using .sum. And this will show you all the columns and their respective null values. So here we have lots of null values in location, hosting organization, and event pugs. So we will deal with those one by one. So let's start with filling the missing values. So there are lots of ways we can handle missing values. And there are many specific libraries which are built for this particular task. Here we will go with just a simple approach. So for now, wherever we have null values, we will fill it with unknown in the hosting organization feature or column. And in the event perks, we will say just none. So it says like, we don't have any perks in this event. These all things were already covered in the last workshop. That is why I'm going a little bit faster. But don't feel overwhelmed if you are not able to understand it as of now. Just raise your hand, ask whatever you have. All right. So now that we have handled the missing values, we need to do some feature engineering. This means we create features or variables that may help our model to learn better. So that is our goal. At the end, we are trying to implement a machine learning model, right? So what we want that the machine learning model, whatever we use, actually learns from the data and it performs better. And for that, we can use feature engineering as well. So we might require generation of additional features or maybe some operations to be performed on a particular feature. so that the model gets the better context of the data. Moving ahead, here what I did is basically I have combined the data extracted and time extracted feature, which we had over here. Here, if you see, I have date extracted and time extracted. So what I did, I basically combined those two information and created a new feature, and I named it date time. And after that, now you see that our data set has one more column or feature. Now our data set has 1,888 rows and 16 columns instead of 15. And I have also converted this new column into a date time format. So basically in pandas, we have this two date time function, which we can use to convert the data type of a feature, which is very essential, and we will understand it why. But for now, just remember that for any date time information, it's very essential to convert the feature into the respective data type. And now I'm just checking if I have any null values in the date time column, which I have just created. Let's drop all the irrelevant features. So after dropping all these features, which are not of any use for us, now I got a new data set. All right, so here is a task for you. Find the size or dimension of the data set and list of all the features. And this was already covered in last workshop. So, and here also you can use like the previous functions I have used, and I will highly encourage to write using these two, use these two columns and write the function to find first, like there are two tasks in task one. First is to find the dimension of the data set. Second is to print the list of all the columns we have or all the features we have. All right. So here I know I can use just data frame.sap. All right. So for the first part of our task one, we will use the .shap function. And now you can see we have only 7 features left out of all the 16 we had initially. So these are all the important features which are essential for our machine learning model. And you will understand why in a while. So I have dropped all the irrelevant features which were not useful. Now for the second task, we can use another pandas built-in function, which is just data frame.columns. So now we have event name, description, categories, host organization, event path, location, and date time. So just to give you a context, at the end, we are going to build a recommender system, which is going to recommend ASU events. And for that, we need all this information. And it makes sense, right? We need the name of the event, the description, and the categories, the hosting organization, and event perks include like free food, free stuff, because those are essential. Because for some people, like including me, I only go to events for the free food. Then we have the location, because that is also a very important factor. As you know, like our ASU has 4 campuses, and somebody who is studying at Tempe might not be able to attend event at Polytechnic campus, right? So I have kept only these 7 features and removed all the unnecessary features. All right. Moving on, I suspect that there are duplicate values in a data set because I saw that in the location and other features, there were multiple null values. So just to check, I am going to use this data frame dot event name. So this event name is the name of the column. You can write it in a different way as well. So let me show you. You can also write it like this, and you can mention the column name, which is event name. And then so these two are basically the same thing. You can either use the square bracket and keep the name of the feature or the column, and then perform any function on that, or you can just type uh, like like this. You can just type dot the name of the column, and here what this value count does, it basically tells us that if you see, we have name of the events and there is this count. So what it says that basically for this event, which is cone maze, you have only one count. So in the entire data set, this event happened only once. But for other events, you can see like this Thursday discussion forum, there are 65 counts, which means that this event has repeated 65 times in a data set. And this is not a problem or like something wrong with the data set. What happens? Let's say I'm using data for past 5 years. So of course, many of the events are going to be repeated. If I use, let's say, 1 week's data, then there are higher chances that there will be no repeating event. And just to make sure that we have some duplicate values, I use this group by function, and I used it with event name and date time. Because to identify if an event is unique, we need not just the name, but also the date time. A date time is just the date and time which we created earlier. So anyone has any doubt so far?
Guys, I would urge you to follow along the code and like execute the cells because you might face small errors due to like spelling mistakes, due to copying the right path. So I would request you to like follow along the coding lectures and just code along so that, and please stop us at any moment if you have any doubts, we'll come and rectify your error. Thank you.
So moving ahead, I grouped the data set using the pandas group by function, and then I checked all the events which are repeated more than once. So here you can see that most of the events have like 3, 4, some are repeated 8 times. And this doesn't make sense, right? Because this is not possible to have 2 events which are scheduled on the same day, same time, and with the same name. So any one of you would like to suggest what we can do to handle this problem? So now we have duplicate values and lots of them. Anyone?
What the rows with the same name and the same date time?
Yeah, that is also one of the way. So what we can do is we can drop all the repeating events in this case, because most of the events are repeated and we don't need the repeating events, right? Any other idea? So before dropping all the events which are repeated, I went on and tried, I tried to see that what's actually wrong with the data set. Why are we getting the repeating events information? So what I basically did is I picked this one event whose name is 11th Annual Healthcare Panel, and I printed all the events with this name. So here, if you see that the date time for all three values is same. So basically, this is a one event, but we have three entries for the same event. So any one of you notice anything here? Right. Very good. So the categories are different, and that is the reason we are getting the repeating values. So, and one more thing, if you see over here, in one of the event, the location information is available, but for the other two, the location is unknown. So what we can do is basically we will pick unique events. And how will we find the unique event? Using the event name and date time. And we can aggregate the data set. So here is the code. If you have any issue with understanding this particular step, just feel free to, you can even ask me after the workshop, or you can ask on the Discord channel as well. Later, if you study, go home and face any trouble. So this is a very important step. So here, if you see, I grouped the event using the event name, date time, and description, and aggregated the data set. So what does it mean? Basically, what I'm doing is, um, I'm combining all the events with the same name and date time. And for these three features, the host organization, event per categories, and location as well, I am joining all the information which is available in all the entries. And wherever the information is unknown for hosting organization or not specified category, I'm excluding that factor. So after doing that, you can see that our data set is now, our data set have only 878 rows instead of 1800, more than 1800 we had initially. And now here I have just renamed the columns. This is an optional step. This is not required, but for our own understanding, I have just renamed all the columns. So now it makes more sense. After that, I have checked the null values. So after performing this data aggregation step, one key thing which we gain, instead of dropping all the values, all the rows where we had repeating value. So here you see we got all the information for the location column. Now there is no null value for the location. Instead, if we would have dropped all the duplicate values, we would have lost lots of information about location and other features. And now, now I'm exploring the location column. Basically, we need to take every column or every feature and perform all the necessary pre-processing and convert it in a suitable format before we can implement a machine learning model. Yes. Oh, all right. So here you can see that for most of the location, we have this view map. This is repeating at the end of the location, which is something we don't need because it has no information. And it basically came in the data extraction process. So we can just remove it. And here I have used we can use this dot replace function, which is also built in pandas. I use the str. Some of you might be wondering, it's because our feature, this particular feature is a string feature. It's not numerical. And instead of this view map, I replaced it with nothing. So I removed all. All right. So now our location make more sense. After that, I would like to, I have just checked all the events and their frequency. So if you see, in total, we have 876 events, but out of those, only 365 are unique. So what does it mean? It means that some of the events are recurring because you might have heard about the 4Cam Friday or some other event which happens like every week. So that's why we have 365 unique events and 876 in total event now. So for those of you who are not proficient in pandas or Python as well, uh, it's not a big problem because here I'm going to show you a really cool trick. What you can do is you can just insert a new cell wherever you want to write a code and just click on this generate, and whatever you will write here in your words, the Google Colab will automatically write a code for you. So here is a task 2. So now that we have performed the data cleaning and pre-processing, we want to save this data set so that we can utilize it in future, right? So for that, we will save this data set in the CSV format, and we can do that using the toCSV function, which is also built in Pandas. So this is task 2 for all of you who are following along. Use this cell and write the function. And some of you who don't know, maybe like Python or something or Pandas, you can just use this generative AI feature, which I'm going to use to show you. So just take a minute or two and try to write a code to save the data set in a CSV file. And if you have any doubt, just raise your hand. All right. So we can just click on generate and type that write a code to save the data set into a CSV file. See, there you go. So instead of this data frame, because this is our earlier data set, and we aggregated the data set and created a new one with the name result. If you see over here, we are using the name result for our pre-processed data set. This is basically data frame. Sorry, my bad. And so to save it, we can just type result dot to CSV. We can provide the name here. And for the index, we will use false. Don't think much about this part. It's not that relevant. And by hitting enter, you can just save this data, export this data frame basically into a CSV file. Okay, so now we have pre-processed our data set and saved it into a CSV file. We can use it later on. And how we use it, this is basically the same way we initially imported our initial data set. And the way we do it is just write a name and use the pandas function read CSV. So earlier we used read Excel because our data set was a Excel file. And this time we have saved it in a CSV format. So we will use pandas.read CSV. We hit enter, and this is a new data set, which is a bit more clean. And we can check the dimension of the data set. And here, if you see, for the date time, the data type is object again. Instead of the date time format we have converted initially. It happened because we exported the dataset in CSV file and again imported it into pandas data frame. And in this process, that information was lost. So we can again convert it using this command over here. This is basically nothing but I am saying that use the date time column of the data frame and convert it. So I'm using pandas. So that's why pd dot to date time. This is a function we use. And now if you see, our feature is in a suitable format, which is date time 64. Don't think much about it. It's just name of the data type, which pandas decided to go with. Any doubt so far? Okay. So now that we have aggregated our data set and extracted new features, let's create some more features for data visualization purpose. And the way we do it is, I'm creating this new feature, which is event year, out of this date time feature using the pandas function, which is .dt.year. And it will extract the year information and save it in a new column with the name event year. And if we had not converted the data type into date time format, pandas would not be able to get this information out of the column or feature. So we created like 4 or 5 features here: event year, event month, event day, event hour, weekend, or day of the event. Some of you might be wondering that why are we creating all these features? So let's say that you are working at Netflix and you do not only want to know whether a user watched a movie, but also you want to know what day it was or what time of the day it was to understand some patterns. And let's say you figured that on Friday night, people prefer comedy. So how is this information is useful? Well, this is useful because on Friday night, what Netflix can do, that it will recommend more comedy movies to the users, which will be helpful for the Netflix and the user as well. And the way we do it is by creating these new features. So now that we have these additional features, we can use this information to get some meaningful insight. All right. So we have already covered how we handle the missing values. We performed feature engineering. And why we perform feature engineering? So that we can enhance the raw data, and our machine learning model will be able to get proper context and perform better. We removed all the irrelevant features. We handled the duplicates using the data aggregation. Here comes the exploratory data analysis. So this is a process of examining and visualizing data set to uncover patterns and detect anomalies. So basically, data visualization. What is data visualization? As the name suggests, these include all the techniques and tools we use to visualize the data, including the chart or plots we all are used to. Why is it so essential? So here, if you see, that I had this data set, and most of the data points are clustered uh, on a particular region, while these three red data points, these are far away from all those points. So I can say that this is an outlier. And in a real world scenario, let's say you are doing a survey and writing the heights of class 10th student, and you come up with something like 5 feet 6 inch, 5 feet 10 inch, 5 feet 12 inch, and there are two people who are 7 and 8 feet tall. So what does that say? It doesn't mean that your information is wrong. Basically, those points which does not follow the usual distribution are outliers. So it might be that you have wrongly typed there is a typo while you were entering the value, or it is also possible that there were two students with height 7 and 8 feet. So, and we can perform clustering as well. And we will cover clustering in detail in the subsequent workshop. So don't focus on that as of now. Not just that, data visualization is also very helpful in finding all the patterns or trend. So I'm pretty sure some of you have seen the chart for stocks. And if we see that there is a increasing pattern or the stock is doing really well, so we can get a gist that, okay, this company is doing really good. And we expect that it will do good in future as well. So to uncover all the trends or patterns, data visualization is a really powerful tool. We do have other techniques as well. All right. So here you see, these are the events which are distributed in all the months. So this number one says January, February, and so on. And if you see on the month of May, June, and July, which are these 5, 6, and 7, we have less number of events compared to month of 8, which is like August, September, and October. So what does this says? Any insight we can get using this, like after looking at this chart? Anyone? Come on, just think about it. Just think about the May, June, and July. What's so unique about those 3 months? Right, absolutely. So that's a summer time. Most people don't come on summer. They go on internship and other thing as well. So that's why we have relatively less number of events on those months. But if you see over here, there is a sudden increase in the month of August probably because of the fall intake, right? So these are the kind of information we can get using data visualization. All right. Similarly, you can plot multiple charts as well, depending on your requirement. What do you like? Whatever is your hypothesis, or you feel you want to get insight about. And I have created this weekday and weekend column as well. And if you see, on weekday, we have 735 events out of 800 and something. And on the weekend, we have 141 events. So why is this information necessary? Anyone? Why have I created this particular feature? Just think of it as, yeah.
Because more people are likely to go on an event instead of people.
Not necessarily, you are almost right. So some people who are living like far outside, sorry, yeah.
So you can just like, hey, I want to go. for events on the weekends, and we go during the week or something like that.
Absolutely. So it depends on the personal preference. If you are living nearby campus and prefer weekend events, so having this information is really useful because the person who prefer weekend, we will only recommend the weekend events, like more weekend events than weekdays event. So that's more relevant for that particular person compared to a different person who prefer to attend events on weekdays. All right. So these are some additional resources you can use to learn more. If you feel we will provide this data set and this notebook file with all the code and this PPT as well. If you feel like you have any doubt or you get stuck at something, just put a message on Discord. Okay. Now test your knowledge. Guys, just, yeah, sure.
So, just to let you guys know, this is gonna be like a culminative leaderboard where all your points will be like accumulated towards the end of the semester. And so make sure to give your correct details because these scores will be throughout, it will be carried over towards the end of the semester. And we have something exciting for top few winners. So, yeah.
Yes. So, guys, try to use your ASU ID. Maybe with your different email ID, it won't open.
Just go through the questions with me. Can open this link and just go through what the questions are and what the answers are. If they have any doubts, they can clarify.
Yes. Well, you can go through the question and answer, and if anybody will have doubt, I will be focusing on those. You can just go on the laptop.
Yeah, I can move it. But
Yeah,
you,
and
you
yeah, I will discuss it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that makes more sense. All right. How would I open this?
You have any Discord or something open on your
Yes,
yeah, in that.
but wait,
So-
that will just present mask.
You can't do that, stop pressing it.
We needed some this.
Or you can open from Discord. It's fine, right? I can
Yeah.
send it in the ML link itself.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
You just
It's okay.
send it on.
15. I'm doing it.
This one?
Yeah.
People whose attendance hasn't been taken, they can just come to the desk. People who came in when the session was in the middle.
We just need to scan your event passes. So are you all done with the questions? Do any of you need more time? Yeah, okay.
Or if you have any doubt with the questions, with the quiz, or maybe any other doubt, just feel free to ask.
Also, just letting you know that we have another workshop for the GPT coding from scratch, the NLP workshop right after this at the same room from 6:30 to 7:30. And one more announcement is, I think you all would have seen my message on Discord regarding the Coral Group volunteer list. So just so the what they work on is multimodal LLMs, especially with charts and graphs. So if you have any relevant research experience or any sort of experience towards that, please make sure to apply for that. And then yeah, and please reach out to me if you have any questions. Thank you.
You want to ask him?
Again, a reminder, guys, those whose attendance, like you haven't signed up your attendance, you can just come here and we'll mark you present for the event.
I will, it has to look like user base because there's no user base.
Yeah, right now in this particular data set, we don't have the user information, but we will use a different data set, which is going to be like similar, but with user information. And
To user information.
yes, yes.
Actually,